Hey guys, I'm going to go through scarcity in this video, which is the central problem of economics. Do take note that this is for the A-level syllabus, or rather the H2 economics syllabus. So for scarcity, it is defined by the limited resources available, which are unable to satisfy the unlimited human wants. And resources can be stated as land, labor, capital, entrepreneurship, while wants is the desire for even high levels of consumption. So this gives rise to three questions. Firstly, what and how much to produce. Secondly, how to produce. And third, for whom to produce. Since resources are scarce, they have alternative uses. An example will be crops farmed by farmers. So typically, wheat and rice are used for food, but they can also be used for biofuel. So individuals and society must make choices among the alternative uses to maximize use of resources to achieve the highest possible satisfaction, and thus incurring opportunity costs. This opportunity cost measures the cost of making a choice in terms of the next best alternative forgone. It can be split into explicit, or rather the monetary value, and the implicit, the non-monetary value. So let's say I am going to a concert, let's say the Taylor Swift concert, and on the same day, the Coldplay concert takes place on the same time period. So let's say this Taylor Swift concert is $300. My explicit monetary cost will be the $300 that I spend to see Taylor Swift, and my implicit cost could be the satisfaction that I lost, or rather the satisfaction that I could have derived from going to the Coldplay concert. So in H2 econs, we look at three main economic agents: consumers, who maximize utility from consumption of goods and services, given their limited disposable income, and producers who maximize profits, and lastly, the government, who maximize societal welfare. Looking at the price mechanism between the consumer and producer. So this mechanism means that decisions taken by consumers and businesses interact to determine allocation of scarce resources between competing use. And this price mechanism serves to signal and ration. So for consumers indicate to produce what and how much they desire through the price they are willing and able to pay. And the self-interest of consumers to pay according to the satisfaction they derive from each additional unit of good to maximize utility. Consumers must be willing and able to pay for the good. For producer, the higher price signals higher profits for producers, and producers are self-interested to maximize profits and thus incentivized to produce goods and services that command higher prices. They aim to maximize revenue, minimize costs, and hence need to maximize use of each factor of production to achieve highest return. The supply is usually inefficient to meet demands of those who have the ability to pay for it. And when there is competition amongst consumers, this drives up prices. And to eliminate those who are unable to pay the higher prices, goods are rationed to those who can afford. Right. So for resource allocation, consumers maximize consumer surplus from the consumption of goods and services given their limited disposable income. They are constrained by the ability and willingness, as I've mentioned, to pay for goods and services. Thus must make choices since they are unable to consume every good. Opportunity costs are thus incurred because spending of disposable income on one type of good or service means that another type of good or service must be forgone. It is in the self-interest of consumers to pay only according to the satisfaction they derive from each additional unit of output. And as marginal utility falls, price of the good that consumers are willing to pay also falls. Hence the demand curve slopes downwards. For a supply curve, producers need to decide what to produce, how to produce, and for whom to produce, given the customers or rather consumers' ability and willingness to pay. It is in the self-interest of producers to charge more as marginal cost rises in order to maximize profits. Hence, the supply curve slopes upwards. So, producer self-interest revolves around maximizing producer surplus they derive from the sales of goods and service, given limited resources and cost constraints. Producers must make choices since it is impossible to produce everything, and likewise incur opportunity costs because the usage of resources to produce one type of good or service means that the production of another type of good or service has to be forgone. Next, we'll be looking at the PPC, or rather the production possibility curve, which shows all the different maximum attainable combinations of goods and services that can be produced in an economy, assuming that all available resources are used fully and efficiently given a state of technology. So the PPC curve typically looks like this, and it can indicate potential growth and actual growth. Potential growth is indicated as an outward shift of PPC, so from point U to U1, or actual growth, which is a point within the PPC to a point along the PPC, so C to A or C to B. So it can also shift outward or inward. So outward shift, which is beneficial, can be derived from an improvement in technology or increase in quality and quantity of factors of production, whereas inward shift shows is derived from a decrease in quantity and quality of factors of production. That's all. Thank you.